the vision. Okay? Not the problem. Not the obstacle. Not the need. Not the lack. He said, don't write about what you lack. Write the vision. Write it. Right. What do you see, woman of God? 10 years from now, what do you see? What do you see? In your spirit, when you get down to your core, what do you see? What would you do if money were no problem? Well, it's no problem. I'm gonna try y'all. What would you do if money were no problem? Well, it's no problem. It's no problem. It's no problem. I'll try y'all. What would you do if money were no problem? Well, would you tell your sister, money, dry up your pen, write the vision. Don't worry about who's gonna pay for it. Don't worry about who's gonna execute it. Don't worry about who's gonna stand in agreement with it. All he asked you to do was write the vision. He didn't ask you to pay for the vision. He asked you, who can I give this baby to? Maybe y'all will take it up there. Just write the vision. Go ahead and write the business plan. Go ahead and write the business plan. Go ahead and write the purpose, the vision, the purpose and goal. Go ahead and write the vision. You have been so focused on where you've been that you can't stretch for where you're going. All our prayers are backdated. Oh God, have mercy on me. You know what happened to me when I was a child. You know what I went through when I went to college. Oh Lord, I'm still getting over my first husband. Girl, you on your fourth husband. Still talking about your He didn't say write the past. He didn't say write the pain. He said write the vision. What do you see? What do you hope for? What do you believe? He said write the vision. And then he says to Habakkuk, read what you wrote. Write it and then read it. Remind yourself of what you said. Remind yourself of where you're going. Write it, read it, and then run it. Before the year is out, say it with me, before the year is out, I'm going to write it, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. Let me tell you something. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to write it, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to write it, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. Now just take a minute and praise God for that right there. And I'm going to run it. Running it means I'm going to bring all of my efforts in alignment with what I wrote. I'm not going to expend energy that's off the page. If it's not on the page, I'm not running after it. If it's not in the script, the actor doesn't say the lines. I'm going to write it, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. When you see me running, you don't have to read what I wrote because my feet will tell you what's on the page. Oh my God. Stop explaining, stop arguing, stop fighting back on Facebook, stop arguing on Twitter, stop complaining with your so-called friends. Tell them to watch my feet. Adversity. You wouldn't need a washing machine if you didn't have dirty clothes. Opportunities are created from adversity. You wouldn't need a washing machine if you didn't have dirty clothes. Opportunities are created from adversities. So if you have adversities, your adversities are opportunities. Whether they become opportunities or not is how you look at them. If you see it as a problem, it's a problem. But if you see it as an opportunity, it's an opportunity. God is giving you opportunity. It's just like coming to this conference. God is giving you an opportunity. What God's going to do is give you an opportunity. When he's giving you an opportunity, he's done. He's going to give you an opportunity. In my book, I talk about the parable of the talents, the 2, the 5, and the 10. Opportunity. Have you not recognized opportunities because they were dressed in adversity? If you look at the clothes of opportunity, opportunity always puts on an adversity suit. Not too long ago, there was a tornado that come through and the waves from the ocean were coming up on shore and houses were up underwater and the streets were covered with water and everybody was getting out of town. It was so dramatic that they turned two-way streets into one-way streets, all exiting the city, everybody trying to get out of town as quickly as possible. Didn't know how high the waves were going to come. People could be killed or destroyed, lose their property. They were all headed out of town. Back to back, the highway looked like a parking lot with cars stuck on it trying to get out. And in the middle of all of that, here comes a bunch of young boys running in the opposite direction toward the storm, carrying surfboards. Because what everybody else saw as an adversity, they saw it as an opportunity. A wave is an adversity if you're not prepared for it, but if you got a surfboard, this is the time of your life. I've never seen. And what I'm trying to tell you is that the blessing of the Lord comes in waves. It comes in waves. And if you stop running from the wave and just ride the wave, the blessing of the Lord would overtake you. For it. Don't worry about who's going to execute it. Don't worry about who's going to stand in agreement with it. All he asked you to do was write the vision and then read it. Remind yourself of what you said. Remind yourself of where you. I'm going to write it, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to run it. God has scheduled you for a promotion. You're going to have to run. Because God is challenging what Moses believes. I'm not talking about what you say. You know how to say the right stuff. I'm talking about what you believe about yourself. You say the right things. You've been taught how to imitate faith. You talk, as my grandmother said, you talk at the big gate. But you go home and live out your belief. If you believe you are unlovable, you will always be unlovable. You can dress up, you can smell good, you can work out, you can say all the right things, you can walk around, you can be debonair, you can be cool, you can be hip, but none of that will overcome that belief that you have in your heart that your life is over, that you made too many mistakes, that you're too old to get anything done in the kingdom. These things that you believe have become your vision statement. It is your purpose. And unknowingly it has become your goal. to live out the damnation of the words you rehearse to yourself. So you're busy trying to get everybody else to like something that you don't like. You're trying to convince everybody else that you are something that you don't believe. And this morning, the Lord sent me here. So I said to God, how can I challenge their belief? And he says to me, faith of any kind always comes by hearing. You didn't believe you were dumb till you heard you were dumb. You didn't believe you couldn't learn till you heard somebody say you couldn't learn. You didn't believe you were unattractive till you heard somebody say. Your unbelief is a result of something you heard about yourself, that you believed about yourself, and your life has fulfilled the prophecy you heard about yourself. You're crazy like your daddy. You're just like your mammy. All of these are curses. They may not be cussing, but they're curses that were pronounced over you that said you couldn't do this or that or the other. And the more you heard it and rehearsed it and even argued about it and said you didn't believe it, every time you face a challenge, tell me the truth, don't those voices come back up? Every time you hit a low place, don't those voices come back up again? Every time things go wrong, don't those voices come back? You have never changed your belief. You and your body is reacting to those words. And you will never completely be healed or whole until you change the voice inside of your own head. And nobody can do this but you. New friends can't do it. New clothes can't do it. More money can't do it. More women can't do it. More sex can't do it. They can camouflage it, but they can't cure it because you are snared by the words of your own mouth. You can't get enough people to tell you you're pretty when you think you're ugly. That's why you keep needing some more. Until you change the words that are in your head, your opportunities will continue to hemorrhage. Like the woman with the issue of blood. Her issues were killing her. 12 years, her issues were killing her. 12 years, the life's blood was hemorrhaging out of her. It was coming out of her lower extremities, but it was coming from her mouth. Oh, y'all didn't catch that. It is coming out of her lower extremities, but it is coming from her mouth. Can you prove it? Yes, I can. What healed her did not come from her lower extremities. What healed her came out of her mouth when she said to herself, see, until she met Jesus, all she believed about herself was that I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. And so her money died because she was dying. Her relationships died because she was dying. Her heart was broken because she was dying. She couldn't have relationships. She was dying. She had spent all of her money because she was dying until she met Jesus. When she met Jesus, he changed the story. She told herself, and she said, if I may but touch the hem of his garment, I know. If I may but touch the hem of his garment, if I may but touch the hem of his garment. She didn't even say it to anybody. It was what she said to herself. Now, if you read it in the original language, when it says she said to herself, it says she said repeatedly to herself, over and over and over again. Because when you're trying to drive out stinking thinking, you have to say it over and over and over. If I may, but that it takes about 21, if I'm not mistaken, 21 days. Is that right? 21 days of repetitive confession to change an inner narrative. Your old story, neurologists tell us, has so affected your frontal lobe that your brain swells with stress, taking away memory and functionality because your fight or flight instincts are activated by the negativity of the words that have been told to you. That's why even when you lay down at night, you can't rest, because your body is still playing repeat of a narrative of things that aren't even there anymore. But your body's reacting because it's still going on in your head. But they say if for 21 days you can change your story and say, if I may but touch.
If you are not in the room where changes are occurring, you are stuck in the yard where consequences are received.